Hello there everybody, this is TheMaskedGUI and it's time for part 2 of my Final Fantasy guy behind the mask. Because the first part was kind of, me unpacking it and my mini rant about not getting the pre-order stuff. And this is going to be part 2 of me unpacking the pre-order stuff that I finally got and talking about the game itself. I don't have any more fancy 3D things to show off this time though, which is saddening. Oh well. Anyway, yeah, so basically the more I thought about it and stuff, I kind of got very worked up about the whole not getting the pre-order thing because I should have got it. And I was talking to my friend about it and I was ranting to him and I was like saying, I'm really tempted to complain. And he told me to. And I did. And I complained and I left a big long message on their Facebook page about it. Well worded, polite. I wasn't just calling them, I wasn't just saying dick every 2 words like. And yeah, and I got a response saying, we're short of them and we're trying to fix the problem and we'll have a few tomorrow if you come in and collect it or whatever. And yeah, so they did, pretty much. Although, in the first place, if they didn't have enough and that they're actually short of the pre-order packs, they should have told me that in the shop. But they didn't. So, But I got the pre-order pack in there, so that's all that matters. And I went in today, and I'm just pretty much back from the city now, and I got it. And, yeah, I'm happy now. So I'm going to show you just what I was getting so mad about. You might think it's probably not worth it. And who knows, maybe it isn't. But I'm still entitled to it. Plus, there's this. This is the main thing really that I wanted. It's the steelbook case. I never realized steelbook was actually a trademark. I thought it was just, what people use to describe these boxes. But apparently steelbook actually make them. But yeah, it's like on the front there's lightning with the petals, or not petals, feathers or whatever. I think it's feathers in the first. I think it's petals in the first Final Fantasy XIII. But this one seems to have feathers everywhere. Or they're shards of crystal, I honestly have no idea. And then on the back there's just the Final Fantasy XIII-2. And then on the inside, I said to open it with one hand. Oh yeah, I forgot I have all the other stuff inside the limited edition box. On the inside then, there is Noel and Sarah. Ta-da! In all their fanciness. And then there's this thing. I don't really need to show you the front of it. It's just a piece of paper. I just don't want people to see the code on it because it's for the DLC. It's the Fight and Style pack. Basically, you get recruitable monster battle, defeat Omega, the famous Final Fantasy boss monster, and then have it join your party for further use in the adventure. I'm not sure if it means Omega or Omega weapon. Because there's different types of weapons, and I know for a fact there's an Omega weapon. I don't know if that's what it means, because if it isn't, I'm trying to think who is Omega, because I can't think of it other than the weapon. I don't know. I could easily Google it, but whatever. And then you also get alternate costume for Sarah and alternate costume for Noel. I don't know what they look like at all, so that'll be new to me. And yeah, this content can be activated before the game released, and please keep this code ready until the game is released. Ta-da! And that's the stuff that I have in the box at the moment. I put the rest of the new stuff inside the limited edition box, so I'll show you that in a second when I finish talking about the DLC. It's kind of annoying though. At the moment, the PlayStation actually needs an update, and so I download the update on my PC and put it onto the PlayStation because it's a lot faster that way. So at the moment, while I'm recording this, the update is downloading. Then I'm going to have to update the PlayStation. Then I'm going to just run it like an internet connection test and stuff to make sure it's working. Then I'm going to have to update the game, the Final Fantasy XIII-2 game itself, because otherwise I don't think the DLC will work. It might, but I don't know. I'd rather update it anyway. Then after updating the game itself, which is going to take ages because the connection keeps timing out because my PlayStation is way too far away from the router, or whatever. And then after updating the game finally, I'm actually going to have to download the DLC as well, which will hopefully be quite small. Because things like game downloads and stuff that can actually run in the background, it seems to go fine. But whenever it's a game update, it also takes an unnecessarily long time. And it's only a 32 megabyte update, and still it's taking forever. So, yeah, hopefully the DLC won't be massive. And, I'll just put those back in here. So I'm going to be using the steel bookcase for the game now instead of the regular case. And then, where's this? I just have all the rest of the pre-order stuff in the limited edition box. And there's this. Episode I. Final Fantasy XIII. It's like a little novel. I think it's called novella, but I don't like that word, so I'm just going to say novel. And I haven't really looked at it yet, but basically it seems to be filling in the gaps between Final Fantasy XIII Final Fantasy XIII and Final Fantasy XIII-2. So, yeah, it's only like 26 pages long, but I'll probably read that later on when I'm in bed or something, which would be pretty cool. And there's also these lithograph cards, which are basically just like, high quality pictures. There's one with like Sarah and Lightning. They're all kind of like the iconic images in Valhalla, which is cool. And there's kind of everyone in Valhalla, I think. There's like lightning up there. Oh, sorry. Lightning up there. And then down there there's Caius. He's hard to see. I don't know why the camera's so blurry at the moment. Then there's Sarah and Noel. Ta-da! And then the other one is just the basic lightning surrounded by crystal shards / feathers / petals again. But the 3D version is much cooler anyway. And yeah, that's all the new stuff I got, I think. Yep. Now that I've talked about all that, I think it's time to start actually talking about the game itself. Well, it actually took me about 7 minutes to do. Yeah, so the game itself. I'm not really that far in it. I've just briefly started on episode 3 just in order to get the Moogle toss. And so I'm kind of technically still running around in episode 2 areas, which is pretty early. And I'm just kind of going into places where I don't have to go because I like doing the side missions before I get into the main place, just so I can seriously level myself up and make the rest of the game relatively easy throughout. The places I've gone to, I've mainly just been using a sentinel, just so I'm not dying all the what's wrong with my voice? A sentinel, so I'm not dying all the time. But yeah, so far I can safely say that it is a really good game, and it's much better than the first Final Fantasy XIII. I'm not going to go through all the reasons that it's better, but there are a lot of ways it's similar. When you're battling, it still has the ATB where you have to fill up, where you have to wait for it to fill up and then you attack and whatever, and you can launch enemies when they're staggered. And those kind of mechanics are exactly the same, and there's the paradigm shifts. But everything just feels a lot faster and stuff, I don't know. And it kind of urges you to actually use the manual commands as well. I was in battles and I kept on kind of picking things in auto battle that I didn't want it to do, so I kind of felt that I should actually take control of the battle. And there's like a boss because I technically skipped some of the game, and there's a big huge boss, and it took me about 10 minutes to beat. And I know the bosses just seem a lot tougher in it as well. For such an early stage of the game, there are tough bosses. I also went back over the first chapter using the rewind thingy and just breezed through it just so I could get 5 stars on everything, just to see how it would work. So you can actually replay the game later on if you do want to get a better rating on a boss that would normally become unavailable because it's a storyline boss, which is pretty cool. I don't know how many times I've said, oh no, yeah. Sorry, I'm tired. Let me get my words straight. That sentence wasn't important. I was just going to talk about me saying repeatedly, but it's not. Who cares? Anyway, another thing I must say about it is the music is absolutely incredible. I like the music in the first Final Fantasy XIII, but I don't know, it just wasn't that great. It was okay, but not special in any way. But this one has an absolutely amazing soundtrack. Just there's a lot more kind of proper kind of heavy rock music. I mean, some of the boss battles and stuff. Anyone who's played the demo when you're fighting Atlas, you know that. And anyone who plays the game, obviously you'd have picked it up by now. One song in particular that's absolutely epic is the Crazy Chocobo song. Because basically you can ride chocobos around, but there's these ones called rambunctious chocobos that like throw you off after a while when you run out of gazelle greens. And the song that's playing is basically a heavy metal cover of the Chocobo song, and even just the lyrics in it are absolutely brilliant. I mean, the whole soundtrack is on YouTube. If you want to check it out and don't play the game or whatever, then I recommend it because it's such a good song. Even if you don't like heavy metal, just listening to the lyrics is just so funny because down to the core of it, it's about a chocobo, you know? I said, again, damn it. I'm conscious of it now. What else is there? I think the characters in this one are a lot more likable. Because normally kind of around this stage, after playing about, I can't remember, I don't know how long I've been playing Final Fantasy now, or 13-2 even. But after this long, I already hated Hope. I wasn't a huge fan of Vanille. And then there's this Lightning, Snow, and Saz, who I have no strong feelings against. But I know there's a lot of people that I kind of hated extremely. But this one, Sarah, she's cool. She's a bit friendlier than Lightning, which is good. I like Noel. He's funny, he's cool. Snow's in it again. He's pretty much the same as in the first one. And, Alyssa. She's not too bad, alright. She actually contributes to the storyline. I noticed just even a story about it seems a lot better too. There's a lot less secrets. Because, there's a lot of situations in the first Final Fantasy XIII-2 game where, there's someone who's like, oh, I've got a big secret. And the person who I should tell is right next to me, but I can't tell them until about halfway through the story just to progress through it, even though we all knew it was going to come out eventually. Straight from the start, so I'm not giving away any spoilers, there's the whole thing about Hope hating Snow. And then throughout the whole game until maybe, chapter 7, he's like, oh, I want to tell Snow how much I hate him. I'm going to do it right now. Oh no, Snow just ignored me, now I can't do it anymore. And it's like, oh god. Yeah, I think that was one major problem I had with the first one, if any. That the story was just really tedious in some parts, and the cutscenes, I think they tried to be too overdramatic. That they tried to just fit everything into every single cutscene, and it just didn't work that way. At least this one now, there's a lot more kind of places you can affect yourself, and the cutscenes are a lot more lighthearted in many places. Because the humor in Final Fantasy XIII-2, or the first in Final Fantasy XIII, was very lacking and kind of dry and subtle if it ever happened at all, and just wasn't very funny. But 13.2 is way better in that sense. That it's so much more lighthearted, and just some of the options you can pick when you're talking to people and stuff are absolutely brilliant. Plus, on top of that, it actually rewards you for giving funny answers during the live triggers. So, it's definitely trying to appeal to more people again. But yeah, I'm definitely enjoying that whole going to places where I shouldn't be yet, even though I can go. And they don't contribute to the story whatsoever. And now I'm just basically trying to do monster hunting. Looking for one enemy, haven't actually fought it yet. And even when I fight it, I mightn't even get the monster crystals. So, it's all just about grinding. Plus, if you're experienced grinding, then you're kind of focusing on how much experience you want. But if you're hunting for a particular monster and you have to fight loads of battles to find it, then you're experience grinding in the background. So then you finally find the monster and you beat it or whatever, and then you just randomly go onto the menu and you see you've got 5,000 CP, and you're just like, oh right, where did they come from? I'm going to use those. And so you're leveling up kind of steadily, but you're not completely focusing on it. So I know it kind of makes it go faster, and it breezes it through. Yay! The update is finally completed. Yeah, I'm looking forward to actually trying out the DLC now to see what Omega actually is. Even though I probably won't be able to get it yet because he's probably going to totally kick my ass because you actually have to fight it first. And I have a feeling it's probably going to be really strong. So, I don't know. I guess we'll have to find out. And yeah, the new DLC was released yesterday, I think. That was the first one actually available to purchase from the PSN, which is Lightning and that guy. I can't remember his name, but he's her like commanding officer or whatever in the first one. He's only ever in like one cutscene, I think. But yeah, it's kind of like her higher ranking guy, and you have to battle both of them. I'm not sure if you can get him as a pet or if it's just Lightning, but after you beat them, they're actually recruitable, which would be cool because then you actually have Lightning on your party. Plus, I think her feral link is actually her kind of final special attack from Final Fantasy XIII. And also she's wearing her like original costume too, not the 13.2 version. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to say. Because I mean, I could keep on going on about Final Fantasy XIII-2, but I haven't really played enough of the game. But this is only my first impressions anyway, so that's all we're expecting. So, yeah, all I have to say is that it is a really, really good game, and I'm actually looking forward to getting further into it. And with that, I shall end this video. I won't upload it straight away just because I have to deal with, the whole Final Fantasy updates and downloading the DLC and stuff. But when I finish with that, I'll upload this video while I'm playing. And so, yeah, for now, I will say goodbye, everybody, and, catch you on the internet. Bye.